Hello, this is Crypto CJ, and welcome to today's trade of the day. Today I have something truly special, a guest, Desirae King, author of Disable Your Labels and the host of the Mentality Makeover, something I attend Monday through Friday um, at 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern. How are you doing today, Desirae?
I am great. I'm so excited to be here. And thank you, first and foremost, CJ, for having me on. And I really, really believe that your audience is really going to be just blessed and really appreciate what we're going to cover today.
Awesome, awesome. Let's get started. What are your credentials? What are your experience with traders? Of
Well,
all kinds, whether it's crypto or stock or whatever.
yeah. So I've had a lot of different experiences, believe it or not, as an award winning motivational speaker. The up and downs that can come with it, the emotional roller coaster that can come with it. I've actually mentored those as high as multi-millionaires and multi-million dollar traders in this industry, all the way down to a mother, a single mother of three, making her first investment. So I've seen the up and down and the fluctuation between both markets, between both. And I believe that we're going to be able to cover some key tools today, whether this is your first time ever investing or trading, whether you're kind of a little lukewarm with trading, or even if you said, listen, I've got this, I'm the master, I'm the guru, but I still need a little help in the
All right,
mentality portion. We're gonna have you covered today.
awesome. Tell me a little bit more about the single mom situation. I mean, it's easy to come into trading with a lot of money and that can cover up some mistakes. But when you have a small balance or budget for this kind of thing, every decision is magnified. So how did you work with that lady, and how did you get help her get started?
Yes. Well, and I'm so glad that you asked that question because it's really a mindset of, can this work for me? When I was able to talk to that single mother, I believe her, first and foremost, she didn't have a mentality, she had a poverty mentality. All
Mm,
right. So for many of us, we don't really know that we have a poverty mentality until it's actually been exposed, until it's actually been brought to the light. So I began to ask just a series of questions to see why wouldn't she invest? What was it really about it? Was it the investment, or was it actually her? Was it the limiting belief that she had? Because let's just look at history and let's look at all of the other people that have invested. So you think that it can work for them, it should work for them, it would work for them, but for whatever reason in the world, in the sky, it absolutely wouldn't work for you. And so what we saw there was that this particular single mother, she actually had a limiting belief, and that was a barrier that, we just had to kind of work through, navigate. And now she's off, believe it or not. I'm very, very excited for her, very proud of her, and more importantly, she's now teaching her young children the power and the importance of investing.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love to hear when people, struggle to get started and then they overcome that hurdle. And then, a few months or a year or so, they're teaching others. That's just it's
Yes.
duplication of the best kind. So
Yes.
glad to hear you helped her do that.
Yeah.
Got my cheat sheet over here. Tell me about
Yeah.
your personal story. I've read most of your book, but
Yeah.
my listeners probably you may not know you as well as I do. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Well, so growing up, and yes, Disable Your Label, that is actually the name of my book. I grew up, my father was murdered. My mother was addicted to drugs. So by 5 years old, I was motherless and fatherless. I was raised by the streets. I was raised by a toxic environment. I'm going to be honest, in the neighborhood that I lived in, it was full of drug addicts, drug dealers, robbers, prostitutes, gang bangers, and anything else that you could kind of think of to throw in there. And I knew then at a young age, I had two choices. Well, actually, I had three. I could either go to jail, I would either die and be murdered like the rest of my friends, or I could find a way to get out of here. The first one, the jail part, I almost succeeded that one. I'm going to tell you, literally, I was 9 points away from life in prison, right?
Mm,
The second one, death, I've had my house shot up. I've had so many, uh, so many accounts with death that I wouldn't even recommend for the average person. And then there was that third one that says, Desiree, you've got to change this. You've got to do something different. You cannot bring your children up in this environment. Can I tell you that I'm 4 generations in of living in a project? So for those of you that don't know what projects is, that's low income community housing, right? That's where the government pays for your housing. That's where the government gives you assistance, food assistance, welfare assistance. And listen, for those of us in life that may need that assistance, I'm not here to knock that. There are some times in life where you need a little help. But when we have perpetual generations that are living in these projects and that grow up in these projects, now we have a poverty mentality. Now we have more so of a limiting belief. And I said, I have to break this generational curse. This will not be me, and this will not be my children. And then that's when I embarked upon this journey that I'm on now. And so to come from where I come from, I'm telling you, people that come from my background, they're either dead or in jail. They don't grow to be, award-winning speakers. They don't grow to make an impact on the world. So I'm so grateful and thankful that I made a decision. And for many of us today, that's going to be the first step to anything that we want to do, not only in trading, not only in investing, but even in life. The first thing you're going to have to do, you're going to have to make a decision.
That's awesome. I'm
Yeah.
so happy to hear your story that you overcame all that to
Yes.
become the success you are today and an influence on my life and many others.
Oh,
So
thank you.
um, let's get to the point. I got a lot of traders here who are
Yes.
watching this video. What can you offer to help them in their trading, whether it's a day trader like me or somebody who does swing trades, which are like weeks at a time, or the hodl, somebody who's holding and sees his or her position
Yeah.
drop or
Absolutely.
skyrocket. Sometimes it's harder to handle the big wins than the losses. So, what can you offer to help us out?
Yes, and that's so funny because that's me, CJ. I'm the hodler, okay? That would be me. But I want to recommend, I call it the 3T formula. The 3T formula. And again, I've had the privilege of literally speaking to multimillionaires. One particular gentleman I can remember actually consulted and did trading for a prince in another country,
Oh,
right? How do you bounce back from that when that prince has chosen to invest with you, invest with your company, and guess what? And took a loss. I mean, I mean, we're almost talking. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, because listen, CJ, no, I'm real, and I like to be authentic. This man was almost suicidal,
yeah. I wonder. That's a different
right?
that's a
Baby.
different consequence than just a bad
Yes.
day.
Right. We're talking a whole nother country, right? Has listened to you, took your advice, your expertise. What do you do? And when this man came to me and he was in tears and feeling like, man, listen, I can't go on. Why would I go on? What's going to happen to my name? Now, for many of us, you say, listen, Desiree, I don't deal with multiple millions of dollars. I don't deal with princesses and princes in other countries. I'm just little old Tim, little old Tasha, little old Tom, little old me. But the principle is still the same. First thing that I told them, I said, listen, you need to get you a team. All right. You need to get you a team of people that first and foremost can surround you right now in this time. Do not be alone in this season. Okay. This is why I love what you're doing, CJ. Can I just be honest? So as a woman that's divorced, right? So I'm now a single mother of 3, and I've been divorced. So for a woman that's beautifully married, and I'm so happy for her marriage, right? She doesn't understand what it's like to be a divorced woman after 15 years of marriage. She doesn't understand that pain. She doesn't understand that up and down roller coaster, right? But if I have another group of women over here that have also been divorced, now this is not a woe is me. This is not what this group is for, right?
No.
This team is just to rally around you and say, no, sister, we're going to get through this together. No, daughter, mother, father, whatever, we're going to get through this time together. So when I tell you team is going to be so important. This is why I love that CJ has the crypto nation, right? This is why I love that he has a team of like-minded people. He has a team of people that understands what that loss feels like. My grandmother would always tell me, listen, grandbaby, don't let your success go to your head. But more importantly, don't let your failure go to your heart.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
And for many of us, we let that multimillionaire, that's what he had done. To be honest, that prince, he was upset. I'm not gonna say, listen, that this
Mhm.
prince was not upset. That would be an understatement. But he understood the risk. But for the multimillionaire that had given that advice, he let it go to his heart and he wore it. And so this is why a community like this is so important, where we could say, no, hey, bounce out. Okay, listen, girl. Okay, it happened. You cried. Did you cry today? Okay, cool. Now go wipe them tears and let's get back in and fight.
Let's talk a
Right?
little bit more about the team. You mentioned I told you I'm a member of Crypt Nation and the Altcoin Alert Group, which is a group within that group. So, um, and that tool is focused on day trading, and so we have a Slack group where we exchange ideas. I'm also in iCoin Pro, which is has a forum in it, and that's strictly day trading, and there's a lot of great uh, participation going on there. And then I'm in a couple Telegram groups as well through the first group I learned, which was Crypto Trade Masters. So I've got about 4 or 5 teams plus a few people are following me on YouTube because I trade a little bit differently than all those groups. There's a way that I'm comfortable with that I'm trying to show others. So
Yes,
I'm both a teammate and a team leader, and it
that's
feels
right.
good to be both. So I agree with you, and I've even put it in other videos. The team is so
Yeah.
important. So
The
let's
team is
talk
so
about that second.
important.
Let's talk about that second T.
Yeah, okay. And so the second T is tools, but I want to just piggyback off what you said, because
Okay.
listen, Michael Jordan even said that talent wins games, but teamwork and intelligence wins championships.
Amen. Yeah.
Come on now. So yeah, the talent, many of us, hey, we have talent. We all have a talent, right? But he said that's not what's going to actually win you championships, right? Phil Jackson won 13 championships, more than any other coach in NBA history, right? So he understands how to produce a championship team. So when you have someone, and this is not to blow your horn or anything, TJ, but when you have someone that know what's working and know how it's working, why would you deviate from that? Could you imagine Michael Jordan saying, you know what, I no longer want to be with Phil Jackson. Let's
Mhm.
try this coach over here. You got to be kidding me. When
Mhm.
you find a winning team, when you find a formula that's working, you don't deviate from it. And sometimes, a lot of times, we do that. There's an African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together,
I
right?
like it.
So for many of us, that teamwork is going to be so critical, so crucial, and so important. So that's why I really thank you, and I'm glad for what it is that you do. But getting to that second one, the second T is tools, right? Now, I want to read something, you guys. Google. Most people think Google is just a search engine, which is wonderful, right? Google, it is an amazing tool. It is a wonderful resource. But I want to read part of the mission statement of Google. It says Google's mission statement is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible.
Well, Desiree, I love that, and I'm a fan of Google, but Google's a bit controversial in the crypto world.
Oh, is
So
it?
a lot of people who are attracted to crypto want little to no supervision over what they do in any shape or form. So sometimes they view Google as being too intrusive. I think it's convenient, but um, I just wanted to point that out for some of the people who might be listening who are watching who aren't Google fans, but go ahead and continue.
Yeah, and now that there's a point that I want to make with that, right? Is not to big up Google, either way. And I do understand the intrusiveness of
Mhm.
it. But the more important thing is the tool and the mission statement of that tool.
Right.
So the tools that we're using today, the second part to this is making sure that you're using the right tools. Do you have the right resources? Like you said, I know that you're a part of, you have multiple software, you have multiple things that you use to make
Mhm.
sure that is effective. I can remember back in the day, I love listening to the stories of different traders, right? So I had this one particular client that was a trader on Wall Street, um, really wealthy guy, older gentleman, clearly. And he would tell me that they had a software. Oh my goodness, had to be maybe back in maybe the 80s or early 90s. And that software would literally take 3 seconds. I mean, the software was just advanced by 3 seconds. And when they put in their software and they would trade at, let's say, it showed 40 cent a share. That 3 second difference, they could buy in at that 40 cent a share. 3 seconds later, when everyone else went to buy, it was already at 70. Tools.
Tools.
Come
Yeah.
on, being able to use the tools and the resources that we have today is going to be very key in order for us to really succeed and go to the next level and be able to kind of deal with the up and downs and the roller coasters in trading.
Sure. And the tools and the team often go together. With Crypt Nation, I've got the altcoin alert tool. With iCoin Pro, I've got the Buddy Coin Crawler. Um, and then there's Trading View, which is a charting software a lot of us use. So these are all tools that are really important to master in crypto trading, before you can realistically have success on a consistent basis.
Yes. And now the third one I want to talk about today, you guys, is timing. Because timing is so important. There's a word that says, as long as the earth will be informed, that there will be a formula called seed, time, and harvest. So, what does that mean? Seed, time, and harvest. I want to give you an example. Could we imagine if winter was 365 days? So, for someone that's in Canada that gets, I mean, zero below weather, could you imagine 365 days of zero below?
Horrifying.
Or
Yeah, I live in the desert for a reason.
exactly right. Or for those of us that live in a desert, like myself,
That's what you do too. That's right. I hate cold
right?
weather.
Yes, where it can get 115 degrees,
Yeah.
right? Could you imagine 365 days of 115 degrees? We would probably lose our mind and say, no, no, I can't do it. So I want you to see, what season are you in right now? And honestly, be thankful for your season. Are there going to be cold seasons? Yes, there are going to be cold seasons where it's zero below weather, where you're like, oh my goodness, why did I do this? But let me tell you a little something about that cold season. That's where you layer up. You layer up, right? You put a jacket under a coat, under the sweater, under the t-shirt. And for someone that may be going through an emotional roller coaster right now, I want you to layer up. This is not the time to take things off or to say, you know what, I quit, I give up. No, it's time for you to layer up and understand your season. And for those of you that may be in that 115-degree season right now, this is not the time for you to layer up and throw on jackets and coats and sweaters. It's time for you to understand, okay, wait a minute. These are some things I need to go. These are some things I need to let go of. So, what am I saying? The point that I want to make today is, no matter what season you're in, understand two things. Whether you're winning right now and you're at the top, or whether you say, oh my goodness, I should have pulled out sooner, and you're feeling like you're at the bottom. I want to encourage you that it's just a season, that it is just a season. Stay the course. Continue to use your tools and resources. Stay connected to your team. Stay tuned in. Stay tapped in. And one thing you have to remember is not to marry, okay? We cannot marry. We can't marry our investments. And a lot of times we're emotionally involved. A lot of times it's almost like a little baby, right? When you're a new parent, you just want to hug on that baby and you just want to love the baby and you kiss the baby a million times. And my grandmother used to tell me, you're going to spoil that baby. You're going to put that baby down. No, I'm not going to spoil my baby. This is my baby, grandma. No, I'm not going to spoil. And before I know it, boy, my baby was riding. So what am I saying today? I don't want you to be so emotionally attached to your investment or so emotionally attached till it's too hard for you to let go, or when it's time to trade you won't trade, or when it's time to go up or down, whatever move you have to make, you're so emotionally involved that you don't think with logic, you only think with your heart.
Yeah, I could. There's a few different things I can do with that timing related to crypto. I think about traders being at a beginner level, an intermediate level, and an expert level. An expert when you're supporting yourself entirely on your crypto trades. I'm probably not quite there yet. I know I'm not there yet. I consider myself intermediate. So there's that sort of timing, and then there's the timing on specific trades in crypto. We call them coins or tokens or projects. You're married to a project and you can't sell it even though it plunges 90%. That's where that emotion gets in.
Yeah.
We are about 20 minutes. So we might have to do a part
Wow.
two,
Yes, I think
because
so.
this
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 time
this
flew
went
by.
better than I thought it would. I thought we wouldn't have enough to talk about, and was I wrong about that? So
Right.
anyway, with that in mind, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Can you
Yeah.
think of maybe one or two parting thoughts you could provide to the traders who are watching this that could help them out, and then maybe we'll pick this up again sometime in the near future.
Yes. I just want to encourage you. I want you to understand you're the blueprint. You are the blueprint. So, what do I mean by that? In a world where Warren Buffett, where he understands the markets based on history, right? He can tell you the history 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 50 years ago, up to 100 years ago. Being that this particular industry, it doesn't have 100 years of history.
Mm-mm.
It doesn't have 50 years of industry. It doesn't have 10 years of history. So I want you to know that you are the blueprint, and I want you to be encouraged in that, because your grandkids are now going to look at what you did and say, wait a minute, how did you are the history makers now. And being the history maker is never easy, right? Like I told you guys, just growing up where I grew up, there was a lot of snow. So I can remember sometimes we would have snow up to our knees. And so the ideal thing was to find someone that already walked that path and just walk in their footprints. It was so
Mhm.
easy, right? Look at the path that was carved out and follow it. But what happens when you cross a field no one's walked in? What happens when you see a path that no one else has crossed? You don't have that blueprint. You don't have that foot trail to look at, to observe, to watch, to follow. And so, for many of you, you're carving out that path. You're carving out that trail that generations that'll come after you will not follow. And I know that's never easy. So, I want to just encourage you, just like the woman that I was telling you about earlier, that single mother of three, she had to really figure out her why. Why did she really want to do this? And once we began talking, she said, Desirae, I want to do this because I don't want my grandson to grow up with this poverty mentality. She said, why am I doing this? Because I don't want my daughter, I don't want my children's children to be limited to think that because of their color, because of their gender, because they're too tall, they're too short, they're too black, they're too white, they're too thin, they're too fat. Come on. I don't want those limiting beliefs to stop them. Why are you doing what you do? Because I'm pretty sure that your why is so much bigger than you. So continue to be the blueprint, continue to go forth, continue to blaze the trail today. That's what I want to encourage you.
Yeah, traders, I couldn't have said any better myself. Desiree's right. We are the blueprint. Crypto is new. I mean,
Yes.
it's only been around realistically that you could trade on an exchange for a few years. So um, keep doing what you're doing. Keep plugging. You know, I suggest watching this video a couple times and really soak in what Desirae has to say. And that's all I have for now. I'll try to get Desirae back for a part 2 sometime in the near future. For now, I'm going to go ahead and end this recording. I'm going to put what she wants revealed in the description, and then please check out the tools and resources I list in the comments below. I'll see you next time. Thanks.